You have probably done everything right. You found the courses. You took the notes. You watched the tutorials more than once. You built the systems, made the plans, and put in the hours. And yet, months later, the skill still does not feel natural. The progress still feels slower than it should. And somewhere quietly in the back of your mind, one thought keeps returning. Maybe I am just not built for this. That thought is wrong. But the method you are using is probably not right either. Here is something modern education has never been honest about. The amount of information you consume has almost nothing to do with the skill you actually build. You can watch 100 videos about swimming and still drown. You can study a language for 3 years and still freeze the moment a native speaker talks to you. Knowing and doing are not the same thing. They never were. But the entire modern learning industry is built on convincing you that they are, because confusion keeps you buying the next course. For centuries, Japanese apprentices operated under a completely different assumption. Their system was not built around how much a student could memorize. It was built around one question. What can this person actually do? Not explain. Not recite. Do. The result was a learning culture that produced some of the most precise and capable craftsmen in human history, in far less time than most modern students spend organizing their notes. In this video, we are going through 5 habits from that apprenticeship model. Habits that directly contradict what school trained you to believe about getting better at something. And do not skip ahead. Because habit number 4 is the exact reason many intelligent, genuinely motivated people stay stuck for years despite constantly studying. It completely reverses what modern education teaches about how learning actually works. Most people prepare to learn before they actually learn. They research the best method. They find the right teacher. They organize their notes and build the perfect system. And then, once everything feels ready, they consume more information about the thing they still have not tried yet. This feels responsible. It is not. Japanese apprentices did not enter a workshop to form opinions about woodworking. They entered to touch wood, to feel how it resists, to make a cut, watch it go wrong, and understand in their hands exactly what happened and why. The experience came first. The understanding followed. This sequence matters more than most people realize. When you read about a skill before attempting it, your brain builds a theoretical model. That model feels accurate because it is constructed from clean, logical information. But the moment you try to perform the skill, reality corrects that model almost immediately. The correction feels like confusion instead of clarity. When you attempt the skill first, something different happens. Your hands encounter a real problem. Your brain registers a real gap. And now when you go looking for information, you are not collecting it. You are answering a question your body already asked. That information lands completely differently. It sticks. It immediately becomes usable. Action does not follow understanding. For most real skills, action creates it. Before you open another video or add another course to your list, spend 10 minutes actually doing the thing. Badly, without pressure, without judgment. Let the attempt show you what you do not know. Then go find that answer specifically. You will learn more in those 10 minutes than in an hour of careful preparation. There is a pressure modern culture puts on beginners that is quietly responsible for more stalled progress than almost anything else. The pressure to be original. From day one, people are encouraged to find their own voice, develop their own style, build their own system. And while that sounds inspiring, for a beginner it is a trap. Originality without competence is just noise. A beginner who skips fundamentals to develop a personal style does not build something unique. They build something fragile. Something that looks different but breaks under any real pressure because the foundation was never solid. Japanese apprentices were not allowed to be original. Not at first. A calligraphy student did not sit down and express himself through brushstrokes. He reproduced his master's brushstrokes exactly. Same pressure. Same angle. Same rhythm. The goal was not to add anything. The goal was to understand, through the hands, why every decision the master made was the right one. Pure imitation of proven excellence does something that explanation alone never can. It forces you to inhabit the logic of someone who is already where you want to be. You stop asking what should I do and start feeling why this works. The understanding becomes physical, not just intellectual. Every master you admire went through this phase. Every writer who sounds completely original spent years imitating writers they loved. Originality is not the starting point. It is what grows naturally once the fundamentals are so deeply absorbed that your own instincts finally have something real to work with. Find one person who is genuinely excellent at the skill you are building. Take one specific piece of their work and reproduce it as precisely as you can. Not to pass it off as your own, but to understand from the inside exactly what makes it work. Let competence arrive first. The basics start to feel boring. The progress that felt obvious in the first few weeks becomes harder to see, and a very natural instinct kicks in. The instinct to find something new. A new technique. A new teacher. A new framework. And the search for that new thing feels like progress. But what is actually happening is that you are escaping the discomfort of repetition at exactly the moment repetition was about to pay off. The gap between a beginner and someone genuinely capable at a skill is almost never a knowledge gap. It is almost always a repetition gap. The capable person has simply done the same fundamental things more times. Their execution is cleaner and more consistent, not because they know something secret, but because their body has had the same conversation with the skill hundreds of times more than yours has. Japanese apprentices did not move to a new technique because the current one felt repetitive. The repetition was the point. Each practice was not preparation for some future moment when the real work would begin. Each practice was the real work. The refinement was happening inside the movement itself, at a level too small to see from day to day but impossible to ignore across months. Every time you switch to something new before the current method is fully absorbed, you pay a hidden cost. You lose the compounding that was building. You restart an adaptation process your body was already halfway through. You trade depth for the feeling of momentum. Before your next session, do not search for a new approach. Repeat exactly what you practiced last time. Notice the small adjustments your body makes automatically. That quiet improvement happening beneath the surface is exactly what novelty would have interrupted. Boredom in practice is not a signal to find something new. It is a signal that the real work has begun. This is the habit mentioned at the beginning of this video. And if you have been nodding along to everything so far, this one is going to be the most uncomfortable. Think about the last time you shared something you were working on. What were you actually hoping to hear? Most people, if they are honest, were hoping to hear that it was good, that the effort was showing. They wanted confirmation that the time they invested was worth something. That is a completely human response. And it is quietly one of the most expensive habits a learner can have. Japanese apprentices operated inside a system where the entire purpose of showing your work to a master was to find out what was wrong with it. Not what showed promise. What was wrong? The correction was the product of the interaction. A master who offered only praise was considered to be wasting your time, because praise does not shorten the distance between where you are and where you need to be. This is the hidden reason many intelligent, hardworking people stay stuck for years. It is not that they are not putting in effort. It is that they are unconsciously filtering out the exact information that would accelerate their growth. They are protecting how they feel about their progress instead of improving the progress itself. The people who improve the fastest are almost never the most talented people in the room. They are the people with the lowest emotional resistance to being told they are wrong. Every honest correction is a coordinate on the map, and they collect those coordinates without flinching. Find one person with genuine knowledge of your skill. Show them your current work and ask one specific question. Not what do you think? Ask what is the single biggest weakness you see in this. Then listen without defending, without explaining, without providing context. That one honest answer, received without resistance, is worth more than a month of self-directed practice. Every person who has tried to build a real skill has experienced this moment. The work is consistent. The effort is real. But the results are not showing up on the timeline that felt reasonable when they started. And that gap between effort invested and visible outcome is where most people quietly stop. Not with a dramatic decision to quit. They just practice a little less regularly. Allow more exceptions. And slowly, without ever officially giving up, drift away from the thing they genuinely wanted to build. This is not a motivation problem. It is a measurement problem. Japanese apprentices were not measuring what most modern learners measure. They were not tracking visible improvement against personal expectations. They were measuring one thing only. Did I show up today and do the work correctly? That was the entire definition of a successful session. Not the outcome. The presence and the quality of the effort itself. Every person who has ever broken through a plateau and experienced a sudden leap in ability broke through it by continuing to practice during the period when nothing seemed to be happening. The people who quit during the plateau never find out what was waiting on the other side of it. Stop measuring how good you are getting and start measuring how consistently you are showing up. Keep a simple record of completed sessions. Not performance ratings. Just the fact that you showed up and did the work. Watch what that record looks like after 30 days. The outcome is the reward. The process is the work. Respect the work first. None of these 5 habits ask you to work harder. Not one of them requires more hours or more willpower than you currently have. Every single one asks you to do something different, not something more. The Japanese apprentice did not become a master by consuming more or pushing harder. He became a master by wasting less. Less attention on the wrong things. Less effort spent collecting information that was never going to become a skill on its own. Less time protecting an ego that had no business showing up to a practice session. This is not about studying less. It is about learning in a way that actually changes what you can do. Do not attempt all 5 habits at once. Pick the one that made you most uncomfortable because you recognized your own patterns in it. That discomfort is the signal. Take that one habit into your next session. Give it a full week before you evaluate anything. Comment below and tell me which single habit you are starting today. Not which one sounds best. The one you actually need right now. And if this is the kind of content you want more of, practical frameworks and clear structured thinking about how to build real skill and long-term discipline, subscribe to Zen Logic. Every video here is built the same way this one was. No motivation. No hype. Just systems that work.